Hello and welcome to Dell's Gaming, and this is from the Depths campaign, and I'm back on Taranto Al Khabib, and we've got the new French cruiser, the La Garçonnière. I'm never going to get to say that correctly, I doubt, but anyway, we got that building and just delivered on our new transport airplane. This is the Regia Marina, the SM87. It's based on the SM75, which was the Italian tri-motor airliner and transport plane, which was then used for the Regia Marina 82, which was a military transport and bomber used by the Italian and actually Luftwaffe as well. But this is the 87 with floats, and it's just delivered a whole load of supplies. So we're just going to let it go on another little run back to the main home base to pick up some more supplies to continue building the cruiser, and also it will be our supply aircraft, so that for the Regia Marina fleet, instead of it having to come back to base to resupply, we can just send that out with a whole load of fuel, resources, ammo, etc. And as it turns around, gains a bit of height to go on the long trek back to the main home base, to pick up some resources from the zone there as well. Yeah, it's cheap. It's about 3 times bigger than it should be, if we wanted to be exact. Oh, it's actually coming to dock again here with this. Okay, it's actually about 3 times bigger than it should be. But you know, you can't have everything now, can we? But it's cheap, 20,000, holds a lot of resources. It's basically filled with resource containers, and we'd be good for moving things around the various little areas in on the map. And on the map, we have our Regia Marina fleet, and we're going to put them into these zones up ahead. I want to have a go at this 200 here, and also the Village of Icewatch. See what our ships will do against there, and see if they can survive not running on aground. And the we've got actually no materials. Actually, in fact, we're going to need to do a quick run, I think, to get some materials. I thought they had some on board, but evidently not, which is a bit of a problem. So once we got some materials on board, I will make a run with this little group, because obviously they can't go in with 0 materials, because basically they won't have any power for the engines. And after resupplying the fleet, it's time to move on and take on this little 200 group and the Village of Icewatch. And then we'll move up the top to take on this top square, and then we'll see how it's gone. Now, in this battle, I think I'm going to concentrate on a particular ship. So we'll start off on this battle with the Littorio, and each battle we just concentrate on how a particular ship does in the combat. Now, we're going to be able to start this off at quite a distance, so I might even start this off with both the sea fleet, enemy sea fleet, and their oh no, I won't be able to because they're not in range, but I was going to bring in the island as well, the village, should I say. So anyway, we're up against their ship. What have they got? A lot of mainly ships and some surges, so I think it's mainly to be ground rather than AI based. So Littorio, that looks about right. I've moved the ships around a little bit just to give them a little, so they start off a little bit further forward. I think I'll have one more of these destroyers in. Okay, did it with a tool. Never quite happy with using the tool, but it sort of worked as long as you select everything. So we've got, if that numbers are correct, now we're only doing 99k battle. I should be on the Littorio. Yes, let's go for it. So starting on the bridge of the Littorio, we are starting off firing our guns out at the enemy out there. Unfortunately, I can't quite see them. Let's see if I've got the binoculars on here. Bear with me. Let's see. Did I put the binoculars up? Oh, I have. They're number 2. So if I select 2, there we go. And how can I now use them? So surge coming overhead of the Torio, who's not taken much damage so far. It's firing quite nicely at the main targets out there. I think that's an Eclipse or Ampere. I think there's 2 Amperes out there, and I think an Eclipse. The secondary guns are doing a nice job, and the AA guns on the surge, and there's a couple of little, I think they're Voltars or flashes running around. Oh, we got 1 Ampere coming in close. Can the 15 mils have a go at them? Go on. No, they're deciding to shoot elsewhere for whatever reason. Are they coming back? Yes, they are. Concentrating on that Ampere there. The guns are firing out of phase, despite me trying to set them up. It must be the awkward way I've got the autoloader set up. Oh, well, that finished off 1 Ampere. I then go for this second one. I think they're doing. Now the targeting is saying at the one over there, but I think because this ship's in the way, it's decided to go for this one here. And now it's out again. I think it's going to go for the Eclipse again. Let's see if it will shoot the Eclipse. Yes, some nice shots in there at the enemy Eclipse. How are we doing at the rear here? And with the current setting for broadside, all the guns are nicely firing, which is also good. Secondary is firing out at that Voltor or Flash which is out there. And the AA guns, where are you having to go at? Someone who's got somewhat high in the sun. Or is it? No, oh no. It looked like it was firing, it was just the angle I was at. Firing in at that surge coming in. I quite like these little 90mm AA guns, they seem to do reasonably well. Their frags, I quite like using the frag shells with the AA guns on the timing, because there's a good chance of doing some sort of damage as long as it's within a just even relatively close. Some sort of damage will get through rather than relying on a hit. I find aircraft, when they go in a circle, are particularly difficult to hit. I think the 15... Oh, we've got some coming in close now, which is the other side, and our battery of 20 mils here. Having a good shot. This one's not firing. I think it's got somewhat of a restrictive area you can shoot at. So what's my AI saying it's doing at the moment? The AI has gone into the naval, but possibly because, yes, it's the main ship is not left or right. I think at any time though it should change to go to a left broadside if things would be normal. And that's a flying Ampere. It's unusual to see flying Amperes, but it's from the depth physics, so you sometimes get flying ships. I've got a feeling sometimes to convert all of the ships just to sort of like airship or heli ship equivalents. It'd be just so much easier. So that Flash is still surviving somehow up in the fly. I thought it was a Voltar, but it's actually a Flash. It's getting ripped apart, but it still managed to fly. And this Ampere is doing a an impression of a dolphin at the moment. Every time it pops up, the main guns do tend to go and target it. When it goes underwater, the main guns decide, no, it wouldn't be a good idea. Just going over some... Oh, we're still okay. Our draft should be okay. That particular bit's a little low, but it's a pity the AI has taken us over this. We do have the AI set at, make sure it's 75 meters depth. That looks a little bit lower. What are you firing at? Where are these firing now? We got a... Oh, potentially the flash has actually changed now from a ship to an airplane to a spacecraft. And as night descends, all of the weaponry still fire. Still having a go at the flash, which I guess is gone above the visual layer in the sky, above the cloud layer. Now have we got much left? We've got one. Oh, there's one more flash flying around. Have we got much else left? One surge up high, a flash up high, surge, a lot of small damaged vessels rather than anything too substantial. And the Ampere pokes its nose out of the water one more time to receive a good healthy dose of 15-inch cannon fire, assuming they can actually hit. And he's back under the water again. I'm hoping that the destroyers are giving it a healthy dose of torpedo fire. The Torio doesn't have any torpedoes for underwater attack. I was going to say defense. It has got anti-torpedo interceptors. Oh, some more 15 inches into it. Hopefully it's not going to last too much longer if we can get enough hits. And we're going to leave the Torio just to see what this is firing at all the way up in the heavens. And yeah, looks like we're getting some reasonable hits on this. Looks like a surge, and the 90mm, although it's exploding a little after it, which is okay, which is the plan, they've all got fragments, which is going to be doing a bit of damage against the aircraft. And we can see there's lots of blocks are falling off, and the reason I put the timer afterwards, if it does hit, that's cool. You get the full impact. It may be just the timing, to be honest, rather than actually me setting it to be a little afterwards. The one thing I don't want it to do is in general is to explode before, because I want it to get the maximum potential hit damage if it does hit the target. It's now falling down, the surge, which is good. I think we must have done enough damage to take out the engines. So I'm thinking we might have some physics issues now, because I don't think there's any way that should be on the floor like that. And this ship has no longer got any sort of looking like an AI. So it should, in theory, be AI dead. But they're not destroying. They're not disappearing, even though they should be either 80% in sinking or AI dead, which is annoying. I think I'll test it. If I go on here and say hit salvage items, yeah, so they see them as non-AI entities, which means they should have been destroyed, but they're not being. So this does happen. I've had it happen more often recently in battles that span large distances. It just seems to I don't know, something just seems to not load or go correct. So I'll finish the battle and then restart the machine or restart the game. That sometimes helps with getting it back to normal. And I replayed the battle in that main square, and it was a slightly different battle, but managed to do it without all of the physics anomalies. Only problem is the ships did get a little bit far away from the main area, as happens in the current game, and they've triggered these particular zones. So I'm just trying to get the fleet back together before we try and attack the fleet. Unfortunately, it looks like we're a bit low on materials, which is going to be problematic as always. It looks like I think we're going to end up getting blocked, and we're going to have to take on this battle here without any significant materials. We did have some materials, and I think they suddenly all disappeared for some reason, and I'm not sure why, because everything was okay, didn't need any repairs, and then I clicked on this drone and it suddenly just all my materials, couple of 100,000 materials, disappeared. Yeah, anyway, I'm trying not to have a moany video, so let's just take it as it is, and we'll see how this goes through. And starting the battle off very close to our own ships here. We're gonna have to see what we can do with no resources. I'm not sure why all the resources disappeared after the last battle, as I had a good 100,000 or so in the on the Littorio alone. But anyway, such is the game, and it's going to be a problem with all of the ground around as well. But this should be an interesting fight to see what happens. So it looks like, unfortunately, it looks like the Littorio is effectively on its own. I'm going to try and bring in a Regia destroyer to give him some support at least. Let's bring in 2 of the Regias. See if we can get them in instead to get some support in here. That's 3 Regias in anyway, so that should give him some supporting gunfire. Looks like we've taken quite a bit of damage on the ship this time. Let's just check the guns. I think are still reloading, and yeah, resources wise we're not doing well. As I say, it all seemed to just get lost at the end of the last battle. All the resources we'd accumulated, which is very annoying. But I think we're picking some up from the enemy ships it's destroyed. Now hopefully we're missing the land, although hopefully we're not getting more physics bugs. No, they are quite happily. He's avoiding the land as well, which is helpful. Gave up trying to get onto the Littorio, so we're on one of the destroyers now. Just having a look around what's happening with everything, with the battle, and yeah, low on everything, but we are moving around and firing. which is good. The Littorio's taking an absolute pounding from the Thunderbird and other ships, but the destroyers are getting their licks back in trying to destroy the enemy, whilst the enemy focuses on the Littorio. Hopefully we can recover the situation, so to speak. Hopefully some torpedoes in against things like this Eclipse should help. Obviously the ships having a little fun colliding with each other. Let's see if the collision avoidance will work. I don't think it will. No, that's a definite no on that regard. When they're going above a certain speed, it just doesn't seem to work, and now they're going a little jittery. Yeah, that did work. What collision avoidance? Surely it should now go in reverse. Yeah. Sorry, I'm renting. I shouldn't. This is be positive. At least we'll ignore that. So the destroyer is trying to shoot that Razor Maul. If only that ship would let it alone. It is trying to fire, and is firing again. Good. We have that Thunderbird, which is what's doing most of the damage to the Littorio at the moment. It's taken most of its main guns out. And that Razor Maul just got a barb into what's left of that destroyer, which could be problematic, to say the least. Razor Maul, another very nasty little ship. That's it, hammer into that Razor Maul. Hopefully we can make it let go of the destroyer. Yes, that let go. Good. Maybe the destroyers can now go and focus on some of the other ships to attack. Focusing down on this Razor Maul, we've got it to fly low. We're hopefully going to get all of the ships to target it as a priority. We'll see if this will work. No, see, why is it connecting to the ship? Right, select the ship and hold Q, all target.
Engaging now.
Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. We'll see if we can get everybody to focus down this Razor Maul and take it out of the battle. I managed to get back onto Littorio, but you can see it's actually beached itself quite comprehensively, so there's no way that's coming back into the battle at the moment, unfortunately. So I don't know why, but that's just acting as a bit of a damage pinata for all of the Lightning Hood's ships at the moment, so I may well just bring that out of the battle and done with it. So on the Giuseppe here, we've got a chance hopefully to get some damage in maybe before we get any hits come in. For some reason it put me on all weapons. Let's take that off straight away. So firing its missiles out at the Thunderer, hopefully. Everything is firing. It would seem to be pretty well had plenty of ammo, at least. We're still quite heavily outnumbered here, unfortunately, and having to sacrifice some of my ships has not helped the situation. And also not having any resources, because they got all destroyed by the for some reason by a bug, which doesn't also help. But let's see what we can do. I think unfortunately we've got quite badly damaged here on the Giuseppe. It got quite a heavy missile strike come in from all of the surges, the Thunderbird, and there's a Razor Maul out there, Ampere, and a few other ships as well. So they're all having a bit of a go here at the Giuseppe. I think we're going to have to move over to one of the other ships. and the Razor Maul has managed to get a few barbs in to the Savano. Sorry, I've forgotten which ship we got here. So Duca d'Aosta has managed to get some barbs in, which is not good. It's also taken a large missile barrage which took out quite a bit of the system, but it's still firing as best it can. Bringing it between the islands, we've managed to get it so we can fire at the Eclipse. I'm just going to bring it back to keep it in range in this area until we can finish it off. Now I've got a theory that we're going the same problems with things not despawning. I'm not certain if this must has got an AI. I think it has got an AI because I think I can see it attacking every now and again. It actually is coming up with 2 damage now, so I think we've done enough damage and we're not getting the same problem with ships not being spawned out of the game, which is good. We'll just make sure that the Duca here manages to get away without ramming itself into the land. Let's see if it's heading that way. Yeah, it's heading itself straight into the land, so I think we'll just give it a little bit of a hand to go out of that area. Yes, I have this at 10 seconds looking ahead on, but yeah, I think that 10 seconds maybe needs to be further. I mean, look at it, it's really trying to put itself into the land there. It does it. Why? Something is giving it a magnetic effect. I'm even let's get into reverse. Go on, reverse. Whoa! We finished the battle, which is rather surprising. Now we've got some materials left here, so I'm gonna see what happens if we now do pull all. We haven't got a lot, but we have some materials. And it's slightly going down, but if I do pull all and
receiving,
then now I'm trying to remember exactly what I did that would cause the problem, but I'm just trying to replicate the problem we just had. You can see how far this battle went here, and I'm sure that's part of the problem. The battle is moving over so many squares that the system just can't keep up. I don't know it, but battles now with the current ships, speeds, length of battle, etc. We're going over like 6 blocks here potentially. Is not is to be expected, for want of a better word. Anyway, I'm actually going to halt the video here because it's taken me many attempts to get this far, and this is still not a single pass through from starting at Taranto El Kabir. I think I've done the square in the centre about 6 or 7 times where I've either had physics problems, ships not despawning, everything disappearing at the end. And now this final run through we had all of our materials disappear, even though everything was repaired. This one obviously there's lots of repairs needed. Previous battle, no repairs needed. I hate being negative, and because I really enjoy this, but this has been frustrating, and I think I've only had this level of problems for the last couple of builds. Prior to that, I don't think in the campaign I was getting quite so many issues with the physics suddenly stop working and things not despawning and resources disappearing. So something just not quite right. Hopefully, I'm really hoping the new campaign build will rectify some of this, but I think the distance issue where we're going into multiple squares and keeping a fleet, since the fleet move doesn't actually keep the fleet all together, that doesn't work. So trying to say that you've got to keep your fleet within 5,000 meters ain't gonna work. So the new code to do the ship is running away. Well, what if it's not running away, but it's just chasing a aircraft that's heading in the wrong direction? I'm really hoping in the new campaign they take into the fact fleets, not a single ship on a single ship, but I have a fleet here of what, 8 ships going against another fleet of 8 ships. You're going to spread out. They're not all going to be going after the same target, and this is an example of what can happen if you just use the AI and just set it up with the ships, length of time it takes to do a battle, etc. Yeah, this can happen, so hopefully they will affect it. My personal things that I think would help is, I'll just go through these and just say, is if they increased the land area so the squares were 4 times as big, well, not 4 times as big in area, so there were 10,000 meters, all the land just increase its sector size by just double everything, and that way the land will keep the same shape, just be you know, the squares effectively are double sized. Don't know if the game can handle going over 5,000 meters, but at least for the squares everything would be, the battle would then have a 10,000 meter instead of a 5,000 meter potential area to look at. Can keep all the other settings, AI, etc. at 5,000 for the moment, see how that works. For the land, going across, detecting whether a ship is going to go onto the land. At the moment the AI you have look ahead 10 seconds. Make that a bigger value dependent on the size of the ship, because I think that for small ships I think 10 seconds is fine. For big ships like Littorio, I think you need 20 or 30 seconds to be looking ahead at least, to ensure that no points on the projected path is going to go onto the land. And on that as well, what you could do is to reduce the number of AI cycles for pathing, is change how often it looks for a new path. At the moment the system, because it's designed for small ships, looks fairly quickly at new AI paths over a short period. If you set that longer, reduce the time or increase the time between it looking for new paths. So at a 30 second pathing timer, it looks a third of the time, if that makes sense. So I arbitrarily, if every 1 second it looked for a new path on the AI, by setting it to 30 seconds, it only looks every 3 seconds or 6 seconds or whatever the case may be. So by increasing that time, you increase the time between the areas checking. Hopefully that makes sense. In what I'm trying to say. I don't know if it does, but that's just some thoughts on potentially ways that it could be changed and made to work. I don't know if it would work like that, and maybe there is good reasons why that will not be a valid option for the vessels. But that's just some thoughts I've got on it. If you've got some thoughts, leave it down below. Your thoughts on the campaign idea. I like the idea on the new campaign where, as I'm moving it around here, it's not all square based, it's based upon the fleets that you see on the screen, and I can't have all of this big wide open area here. I'll have to protect against fleets, but at the same time I don't want to be going over 10-20k of ground and finding that I have to try and keep all of my fleet within 5k, but then the AI and the tools don't allow me to do that unless I just have one ship. And I would hate to see From the Depths become he who builds the biggest ship in a fleet wins, because that's still not. It's much better to have this whole fleet idea, lots of little ships working together, but to do that you need to ensure that your ships work together. Sorry, went on a rant, didn't want to go on a rant. I'm going to end the video here and go and have a build of some ships. I think until the new campaign comes out, I'm going to just build some ships. I might put them into some battles, but I don't think I'll be doing campaign, or I might look at someone else's campaign where the ships are significantly different. Magnus's campaign, or adventure mode, or something like that. I think the campaign is frustrating me. The building is fine, but the campaign side is frustrating me no end at this time. So best if I stay away until there's some changes, shall we say. So, as always, leave any comments that we've been talking about down below. But until next time, please play the game. Please put those bug reports up so that they can fix any bugs. But above all, have fun.